You know how sometimes an athlete will win a championship and then they dedicate their victory to all those people who said they'd never make it? Why aren't we authors doing that? I'd like to dedicate this book to Mrs. Warren, my English teacher in 5th grade, who said I'd never succeed if I kept daydreaming. Yeah, who needs to die now, Mrs. Warren? Grammar. I got Grammarly. Now, I know a lot of authors have problems with Grammarly and those kind of things, but listen, I am a self-published author, and I will always run my manuscripts through Microsoft Editor and through Grammarly, and then I will print it out, and I will read it backward, and then forward out loud. And inevitably, I will catch the most glaring errors after I publish the book. So I became a writer in self-defense. It really was the only way to appease the voices in my head. How many of you have been cornered at a party by the one person who just had to tell you their life story in excruciating detail? Okay, how many of you have had that guy living in your head right now? You're a fiction writer. Now, most people have a voice in their head, but I've got an entire menagerie. So it is absolutely important that I write these stories. I mean, it's like an exorcism. And let's face it, what Catholic doesn't love a good exorcism? And the pigs, I'm sending them onto the page where they're much more entertaining and I can actually share them. But, you know, as a writer, I do find it hard sometimes to make friends. I mean, conversation starters are weird. Sometimes you say, hey, you want to tell somebody they look like someone famous, but telling somebody that they look like your imaginary friends, it just doesn't. And you know, even if they are into the conversation, you keep talking and it's going to get problematic at some point. Now, this last one I actually had happen. I was at a conference and at my book signing booth, and this lady walked in. And oh my goodness, she was beautiful. She was tall and she was lithe and she was dressed so. Who is my character in Madness of Canaan, where she basically ruins life, thus setting him up to have the adventure in the trilogy. And she was everything that I imagined. I leaned over to my friend and I was like, look, isn't that Letitia? The girl who ruined Joshua's life? Yeah, I know. What do I say? And she came up to our booth and no, I did not say, oh, hey, you look just like that. Expletive deleted. My main character's life. I think it kind of came out to, hi, nice to meet you. You're pretty. So there are times when being a writer can be problematic, and that's even more when you are a Catholic writer, especially if you know your catechism and you are prone to the scruples. Take, for example, the 4th commandment, thou shalt not kill. I think most people are able to just go along their day and go, oh yeah, 4th commandment, don't kill, don't murder. Yeah, check. I can worry about the other 9. But not us writers. Because if you know your catechism, it tells you that thou shalt not kill doesn't just mean you can't murder. It also means you shouldn't torture. And then it says you shouldn't have thoughts about killing and torture. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are fictioners. What is it that we do to our characters? torture them. After all, that is what makes a good story, right? And as a humorist, it's even worse for me, because not only do I think about torturing my characters, but I also think about how it's really, really funny. I'm going to make you laugh about it. Now, I know that having these kinds of thoughts is not a sin. It's just human nature. The sin, and like if you listen to Father Mike Schmidt's of Catechism in a Year, he'll tell you the sin is not when you have the thoughts. The sin is when you entertain the thoughts. But what he never made clear is it a sin when the thoughts are entertaining me? And they definitely. You know, this was bothering me once, and so I decided that I really need to go to confession about it. But as a fiction writer, I couldn't do this normally. No, I did not go into that confessional and say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 6 months since my last confession. I have thoughts of killing and torture," because I'm a fiction writer. No, I went in and I confessed the sins of my character. And it went on for a while. And I may have laughed just a little bit. And there was pause when I finished. And I know that that priest was probably praying, "Lord, it is a really good thing that she's talking to you and not me." So, coming up with ideas for this routine, I was trying to think of what things would work for authors, and I decided that maybe I should do what any good author, good student of English would do, and I went to the classics. How many writers does it take to change a light bulb? Writers. Only one, but it takes an editor to make it shine. Anthology writers. An anthology? Oh, what's the deadline? What's the word count? Are there royalties? Anthology editors. It takes 15 who will follow directions. However, that means there are 150 who are going to want to try. Fiction writers. Nobody changes that light bulb until we know its backstory. Romance writers. But I love this light bulb. Our relationship has grown so brightly, and well, it's dimmed lately, but ooh, hello, smart bulbs. Or if you write historical romance, hello, Edison. Erotica writers? Yeah, I can't tell you that one. Historical writers. Are you sure the light bulb has been invented? Noir writers. Change the light bulb now that I have atmosphere? And along those lines, horror writers? No, I want the study as dark as my story. And bloggers. Well, this reminds me of a funny and endearing incident that happened on our sustainable farm. Scroll down for the light bulb tips and the recipes. And finally, Catholic writers. Who needs a light bulb? We are the light of the world. Now, AI is a big thing these days for us writers, and I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but I thought for fun, I would ask ChatGPT if it could tell me some writing jokes. And it not only told them, I got them to illustrate. Here's what it came up with. How does an AI storm? It opens 100 random tabs and hopes for the best. I don't know about you, but this kind of sounds like my writing style too. How does an AI edit its work? It runs syntax check, grammar check, and then decides to rewrite the entire manuscript just for fun. In which case I asked it why it was so arrogant. Now, what did the AI writer? Let's collaborate and create a bestseller. I'll handle plot twists. You handle coffee breaks. I asked it for one more joke, and it censored itself. Apparently, even the AI has scruples. So, how many of you went to the writing camp? Just raise your hand. Let me see. All right. That was a really good writing camp. I loved those first sessions. Very illuminating. I don't know if you were there when we were in the conversation about the Bible and reading the Bible. Somebody mentioned how much of a prayerful activity it is. And I realized I'm doing it wrong. Because when I'm reading the Bible, I'm kind of thinking about rewriting the plot and do something completely different. And it's like Father Mike Schmidt says, the Bible is full of broken people. And broken people make really stupid decisions. I yell at the Bible a lot. I do. Let's take, for example, Genesis. Here we are in Eden. And Eve is there. And it's Eden. It is perfect. It is gorgeous. There are all these beautiful flowers and trees and everything else. And the humidity hair. And she's walking along all of this beautiful landscape. And the mosquitoes are not bothering her. Right? We're in paradise. And she sees a snake. And it's not just a creepy crawly thing. I mean, it's a little snake on legs. It's a cute little snake on legs. And he talks. This is like a Disney film, right? And he goes to her and he, Eve, come here. You know, you eat from that tree, it's going to make you like God. And I am yelling at the Bible, don't do it, Eve. Women have enough to do already. Honestly, we don't need to be God. We've got enough troubles. But no, she went ahead and did it. And I can't help but think how it would have been different if Eve had just asked some better questions. You know, snake, I already am eating enough raw fruit. Why should I care about eating that one? Well, you know, if you eat, you're going to know about good and evil. Good and evil. Okay, you're going to have to do better than that. Is there anything practical in good and evil? Oh, well, wait, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Go about good and evil. You're going to know you're naked. And if you know you're naked, you're going to want clothes. Now, I don't know about you, but as a woman, I understand Eve's point of view here. The thought of some fancy new clothes had to have been tempting. But really, this should have only lasted long enough for her to realize that she was going to spend the rest of her mortal life watching Adam's dirty fig leaves. But you know, I gained some insight into a lesson of the Bible that I don't think a lot of us realize is there. Let me walk you through it. You eat the fruit, then you know you're naked. You know you're naked, you're going to need clothes. You need clothes, you got to do laundry. So what the lesson it basically is laundry is evil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is it for tonight. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. So have a great evening, and I will see you guys around.